May 24th. Is that right? My dates are off. May 25th. I thought it didn't sound right. May 25th, 2022. Good afternoon. Thank you for all of you for being here. If you will take 3 seconds and everybody will please go around, introduce yourselves and your affiliation, so that'll help those on the call. So I'll start by just basically going through the way I see you on my screen. Miss Boxley.
Good evening. I'm Marlinda Boxley, and I'm happy to be here at my first board meeting. Thank you.
And you are Miss Boxley. What's your role with the organization?
I'm the interim director of academics and training.
I think there's a few faces that haven't seen you before.
Okay.
Miss Robinson.
Hello, Andrea Robinson, Operations and Compliance Manager.
Mr. Gore.
Good evening, everybody. Thomas Gore. I'm serving as the interim director for the Strategic Enrollment Management Unit.
Dr. Henry.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Wallace R. Henry III. I am serving as the interim CEO.
R. Henry III.
Yeah.
We're gonna start calling you R. Henry
You know,
the third.
I feel the same way about my tea, so I get it.
Right.
Miss Jones.
Monica Jones, board liaison.
Scroll down, Monica. Mr. Washington.
Hey, good evening, Lavon Washington, board member.
Miss Mitchell.
Good evening, Ashley Mitchell, and I'm the vice chair.
Here comes Mr. Gaston.
Okay.
And Daria. Gaston's audio is still connecting.
And I guess we lost one.
We did when you started saying the introductions.
That was my intention. So that worked perfectly, it seems. Mr. Gaston and Miss Davis, we weren't doing introductions. We had a guest, but the guest bailed out on introduction. So we will move along with our agenda. We now have a quorum. Has everybody, well, on the screen, you'll see the agenda as presented. If there are any suggestions or changes to the agenda, I'll entertain those now. And if there are none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Great. All in favor, say aye.
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 Excellent. Unanimous approval of the agenda. Your January 2020, that is not correct.
That's the last open board meeting. We skipped one
That's
last one.
5 months ago though, Jones.
That's the last one. I'm trying to tell you.
No, we had a board meeting in April. First weekend in April,
Hold on.
a Sunday board meeting in April.
It wasn't
April
open,
3rd.
not to open.
Did we
That
keep
was-
it one board meeting?
The last open board meeting
Did
was
we cancel
January.
it?
We canceled March.
March. Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Got it. Okay, so the January minutes have been uploaded into your board booklet. Are there any questions about the January minutes as submitted? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the January minutes.
So move.
Go by
Is there-
name,
I'm
right?
sorry.
By name.
Oh, is there a second?
This is Ashley. I'll second. I think that was Daria.
Thank you. Properly moved by Davis, seconded by Mitchell. We'll vote for the approval of the minutes. Ms. Mitchell,
Aye.
Mr. Washington,
Aye.
Mr. Gaston,
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you very much. In our public comment period, I'd like to just remind Connie is not with us tonight. I told her to go have a great dinner and a nice drink for her birthday. She turned 77 today. Quite a blessing in and of itself, but to have a founder who's been with us since day one and still remains with us is to applaud it. So I would take a moment just to make sure everybody understood how significant it is to have a 77-year-old founder that's still with us. We had the luxury of meeting with the 2 ANCs this month regarding our new space. Strangely enough, our parcel of land that's proposed for our new homes currently sits across 2 ANCs, 8B and 8A. So we've gone to both this month, and I was quite impressed and happy to hear from the community as to Connie's public perception and how they appreciate the work that she's done in our community. And she's made our path much easier by simply calling her name in ANC meeting. So she has been a definite asset to our organization. Jones is showing you the image of the parcel that shows you where the ANC present boundary is. And I say present because you probably know that the city is going through a redistricting process, and our boundaries will undoubtedly change, but currently we're split. There's a couple proposals on the table before our council member presently that basically takes all of Good Hope Road and puts it in 8A. So nonetheless, we'll see where we shake out, but right now we report to 2. The chair of 8B is Ms. Khadijah Watson, and the chair of 8A is Jamila White. So we've talked with both of them, and we're back on the agenda in 8A for their formal vote for support letter on June the 7th. 8B is waiting on 2 answers from us. And they plan to poll their commission and issue their support letter as well. So that's going well. So just a note on how we are perceived publicly. People are really pleased with who we are and what we do. So continue to do the good work. Are there any other public comments? Seeing none, we'll move to our committee reports. Somebody just joined us, so I'm not sure who it was.
Daria has bad connection and Levon may drop out for only 2 minutes.
Got it. Okay. So we'll begin with our committee reports. Our finance committee report, neither our chair nor our assistant treasurer's report is here. So in their absence, I'll kick in. Jones, if you'll open the monthly report from finance, I'll quickly go through it. Joseph, are you able to click the link from the decisions to open it?
It's not dropped over there. The other three are. It's right here.
Favorite choice, yeah.
Oh my gosh. why is it- Some reason it's not loading, but
But why don't we go to the operations report and we'll come back? And we won't have a governance nor development report for this month. Dr. Henry.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I was prepared for the brief CEO, and then I asked the other members to do it 2 minutes for their
That's you.
updates.
Yep, that's perfect.
We can go right there. Okay. So again, good evening again. Currently, we're in the process of finalizing our 22-23 budget for board approval. And we also are preparing for our 10-year charter renewal process that begins officially on 7/5/22 with our initial conversation with PCSB. And we are also on track to submit our SOAR grant reports that are due on June 16th. An update regarding our Google Analytics pathway. We are projected to have approximately 80 applicants completed by the end of June. We have secured our instructor and we are prepared to move forward with our start date of 8/15. Curriculum development has begun. And so we are ready to receive our new prospects to start off our initial Google Analytics course. My a few general updates include we're preparing for our final 4 weeks, can't believe that, of this semester. And this semester will end with our commencement exercise on the 23rd of June and our community day event on Friday, June 24th from 1 to 7 p.m. Commencement will be at 11 and everyone will receive an invitation to attend. We're proud that our cross-unit collaboration teams have been meeting now for about 6 to 8 weeks. And they have been making recommendations and looking at our TABE process, our recruitment process, our information sessions, our classes and workshops that are coming up for the summer and the fall, as well as enrollment. And so each team has been commissioned to review the process and to provide feedback to the leadership team about recommendations for improvement. So that is going extremely well. And each group consists of members of each unit of the organization. And so the collaboration has been wonderful. And it has been exciting to see the ownership that has been taken by our staff members. And we're continuing to build community within the building, as well as support our overall community, and looking forward to a strong finish for this semester and a productive summer session to begin on July the 7th. I'm going to pass it over now to Dr. Boxley, who will give a brief update on our A&T program.
Dr. Boxley, before you begin, Dr. Henry, a couple questions. How many students are a part of commencement on the 23rd?
All students have been invited, and so we're gonna have our completers be recognized on that day. So hopefully, we don't have the RSVPs confirmed yet, but completers from all the programs will be there, board of course, and community partners.
And how many completers are there to be celebrated?
I have not seen the official list because we still will have some that are coming up for this month.
Okay.
So it's gonna be somewhere around maybe 40 to 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Boxley? You're on mute, Doc.
Thank you. Good evening.
And
There's a-
I need to also say something about you before you start.
Okay.
Dr. Boxley, some of the board members have not had an opportunity to meet you yet. But I had to share Dr. Boxley's CV with Civic Builders last week on our space planning meeting. And I had the opportunity to take some time and really dig deep into her resume. And there were a couple of things that stood out that I did not focus on when she was hired. And the first was Dr. Boxley is a lawyer. She has a JD. And more important than the JD to me was she's a DISC certified trainer. And I told Dr. Henry that DISC, D-I-S-C, the assessment tool changed my life as far as being a manager and a team member. So I am really excited about those two things that Dr. Boxley brings outside of being an academician. So thank you for being a part of this team, Dr. Boxley, and now you can go.
Can you
Thank
hold
you
one
very
second,
much.
Dr. Bosti? Let me just say a few more things.
Uh-oh.
We found Dr. Boxley in our initial interviews for instructional coach. And after I read the resume, spoke with her, I was like, this is not the position for you. If you can just hold on a minute, there's something that's coming down the pipeline that I think you'd be much more suited for. We share in common a background in special education, and I was truly looking forward to working collaboratively with her. And she has jumped in and taken the reins and is bringing me new ideas each day and working with the team. And so we're excited to see the accountability and the structure that she is bringing to continue to move the A&T unit forward. Dr. Boxley.
So now that we've set the
Thank you.
bar really high, Dr. Boxley, you can go now.
Thank you so very much for welcoming me. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to be a part of the team and just move the work forward and follow in the great example and leadership of Dr. Henry. There is a PowerPoint presentation
You have sharing
for
rights.
this. Oh. Okay. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, it's coming up. And now I have to figure out how to share my screen. Zoom. Okay.
Are your sharing rights showing up, Dr. Boxley?
I'm still checking.
So toward the bottom should be a green button called Share Screen in the center of your screen. If you click that button, then your window should come up to share which screen you want to share.
Okay. No, because I
Dr.
can't see.
Bond, feel free to go ahead
Hi.
and just go over your results. That's fine.
I can't see. I don't know where Zoom is either. Thank you. Okay, so the very first thing that I wanted to provide an update on is the TABE status. We've been doing an all hands on deck initiative, and we are 79 students away from what we need to meet the floor. As of today, there are 263 completers, and there are currently 14 students scheduled for the TABE post-assessment. In terms of the other updates, the learning facilitators are going to be doing a deep dive into a couple of topics during the summer. So we fleshed out the professional development plan for the summer. A lot of those topics are based upon the professional development needs assessment survey that we launched. And so we have the results of that ready to share and discuss. Some of the things that we'll be, of course, focusing on is DISC, adult learning, the Danielson framework, and then the GED faculty will also receive additional support from Ms. Spinner and Ms. Atkinson. And that is designed to improve their effectiveness and lead to more completers. We also launched an instructional coach effectiveness survey, and I believe some of the data has been used for the SOAR report. And so I wanted to share some of that information with you. Somehow the Zoom link is no longer there, and I think that's what the issue is. I can see the PowerPoint, but I can't see Zoom to share it with you. So some of the results of the professional development survey were it identified a need to focus on certain areas like adult learning theory, inquiry-based learning, andragogy, learning-centered instruction, student intellectual engagement. In terms of the instructional coach effectiveness survey, all of the faculty felt that the instructional coach was approachable, shared information in a timely manner, and supported the school mission. And so that's my updates.
Dr. Boxley, just a couple questions. I know that you've been with us all of 2 weeks, maybe 3 now.
3 now.
3 weeks. Just a couple initial questions in your early observations. We have struggled with mastering a process that helps us with TABE. What are your initial assessments of our systems as relates to our pre and post assessments that can work to improve our overall?
So I think that there is strong collaboration with the units. The assessment coordinator participates in a committee structure, and through that committee structure, there is collaboration in terms of making sure that all students pre-test and then collecting that data so that we're able to determine students' academic gains. So now it's just that outreach effort so that we can make sure that all the pre-testers have post-tested, and we're making phone calls and doing emails and have some student incentives to get the students who are actually scheduled in for those assessments, and we're also doing them remotely.
From a resource perspective, is there anything that the board should do to better support your effort to increase those gains, or you think we are maximizing our resources for TABE?
I think we, I think we are maximizing our resources. If we had more time, we could get more people. So we're just counting down to try to get everyone, to reach our floor as soon as possible, since we're looking at June 17th as that cutoff for the indicator.
Got it. Are there other questions for Dr. Boxley? Great, thank you, Dr. Boxley.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, this is Ashley. No questions, but welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Dr. Henry, are you emceeing now?
Yes. Next up is the incomparable Thomas Gore. Mr. Gore, you may take the microphone at this time.
Thank you, Doc. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I will be speaking from 4 areas, talking about recruitment, retention, grants and partnerships, and then our staffing situation. In terms of recruitment, you know that we've set a goal of 600 this year. We want to touch 1,400 prospects to be able to get that 600, but actually we're setting 615 because, as you know, when it gets down to the final count, some people are enrolled in dual programs, and so we might lose some. So we will go 15 over in order to land at that 600 comfortably. We have over 661 prospects who've reached out to us either through our website, through social media, through our outreach activities, or just walking to the school. And what we're doing with that 661, we have invited them to our monthly open house meetings. We are courting them. We will be courting them through the process of first day of class on September 12th. Now, what I mean by courting them is that we will assign our student success specialists to those prospects early on. So they will start with them and carry them through the process of attending the info session, then attending the TABE session, completing the application, completing the DC residency verification form, and then landing in class on September the 12th. So they will start that process earlier than they have in the past. In the past, we always matched our student success specialists with our students after they have completed the TABE test. But this time we will start that early so that we can build that relationship early on to keep them connected through the first day of class. Some of the activities to keep them engaged includes, as I said, monthly open house events. We've had field trips. We have weekly career workshops. We have wellness workshops. This summer, of course, we will have a GED boot camp. We will have computer essentials and MOS classes. So we are looking at keeping those folks engaged through September the 12th, and when they will start classes. This is a collaborative effort. SSS may be taking the lead on building that relationship, but it also includes the interventionists as well as the instructors. In terms of retention, we continue to engage students through our monthly meeting process. We send out a weekly update informing them of all the activities that might be happening in the community as well in the school. They reach out to them one-on-one sessions. We're continuing to address any barriers that they might have. As we move into grants and partnerships, On the report, you probably see that there's only one partnership mentioned for the month of March, but we have had several partnerships. A lot of them we picked up in this month of May, and you won't see those until later on. But our partnership numbers are much higher than what you see on there. That was just a report for that particular month. In terms of staffing, we have 3 vacancies. We have an SSS coordinator's vacancy, a student success specialist, and one administrative assistant. We have identified and offered the position of the Director for Student Enrollment Management to Mr. Bagani, who's been with us for 4 years. And so he'll be moving into that slot effective July 1. Basically, that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
I do. On your targeted recruitment deadline, when would you expect to have your number, sir, 600 number? When do you expect to hit it?
Ms. Ray, we are doing something that we haven't done before, and that is we would like to have our number by September the 12th when we start classes. Normally, we are doing this up until October the 4th, the last day that you can enroll a student. So we're working aggressively to keep those students who have reached out to us, indicating that they are interested, to keep them engaged through September the 29th. We think that our new approach to assigning them an SSS early on and sort of like walking them to school. They will be with them until they enroll in the class.
Nice.
I think that would help us to keep those students connected, as well as the summer activities that we have. So that's our goal, is to reach that number by September the 12th. That's a new goal for us, but we believe that we can do it.
Nice, nice. And Dr. Boxley, how many of those 600 will have their TABE pretest, and when? Has the plan gone that far yet?
Yes, it has.
Okay.
Yes, it has. You mind if I respond to that?
Dr. Boxley just smiling, so I guess you trust your answer.
Well,
Make it aggressive since she's
first
smiling.
of all, a student cannot be enrolled unless they have completed an application, completed a DCRV form, attended info session, and then completed the TABE test. So you cannot be enrolled. We control when that application goes into the OSSE system. And so they will not be able to go into the OSSE system until they have completed those 4 areas.
Mr. Gore, I don't think I heard you. Can you say that one more time?
Absolutely. A student cannot be enrolled into the OSSE system until they complete the application, their residency verification, the participation in the info session, and TABE testing. Once they complete that process, then we control when that application goes into OSSE, and that's when it will happen. That is a policy. It's at the top of the page for allowing the student to go into the OSSE system. Nice.
I really, really like that solution. I'm looking forward to it. It makes me feel really good to hear it and see it. And it seems so simple. I don't know why we haven't said that before, but I'm excited about what the process looks like going forward. So thank you both, all 3 of you, for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I want to also, since we have our compliance manager here with us, Ms. Robinson. Ms. Robinson, you want to add a?
Sure, just give a compliance update. I have submitted it's been 25 submissions, and we're 100% accurate on our submissions. On time, we have 100%. All of the submissions have been on time. Those that were not, I got an extension for accuracy just to make sure everything that was submitted was correct. And the status currently now, we have 88% that have been completed and 12% that are pending review and approval.
12% of what?
Excuse me,
88 and 12% of what?
that are complete. The status, 88% have been completed, all of the submissions for the year.
Okay,
We're 88% of those are complete.
Got it.
3% of 12% of the 88 are still pending. They have to be reviewed.
got it.
And I have 9 that are due before the end of the year.
Okay, and I'm curious, I heard you say 100% have been on time, and then I heard you say that some of them you requested additional time for. Which is it?
Yes, well, so that they will not be late, I get an extension so that we won't get, a late submission. So that's what I do. Yeah. To
So-
prevent that.
Got it. So how many of those did we have to get an extension for to avoid being late?
I'll tell you right now.
I think it's a kind of intriguing concept, though, that you can avoid getting the late ding by asking for an extension.
Well, it's your contacts. If you make, your contacts friends at the charter board, they'll
Right.
assist me with this, because some of this is new to me. So the
Okay.
staff roster and background checks, we had a little glitch with that.
Okay,
Employee policies, the seclusion and restraint checklist, and the Title 5 checklist.
and what's the Title V checklist?
Not Title 5. It's the checklist for, wait a second. The grievance policy, what is this? The grievance policies, the sexual harassment policies. That,
Got
the shorts, yeah.
Yeah, so a few of those, I think the board was late on because we made some modifications and we didn't get the votes done timely.
Mhm.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, yeah, so ahead of time, if I know that, I'll call and they'll give us an extension on the due date. So that's what I mean by that.
100% on time submissions thus far.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for that. I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly thank Ms. Robinson for doing a yeoman's job over the past year through our staff changes and staff leaving and resignations. Ms. Robinson stepped in to fill shoes and didn't complain at all. Didn't complain, didn't ask for anything, just made sure that everything ran smoothly. So I want to thank you for that, Ms. Robinson, and make sure that everybody knows publicly the work that you've done, your commitment to this institution is appreciated.
Thank you.
And
I enjoy doing this.
and as a result of the board's conversation, you had some really strong advocates on this board that felt strongly about the work that you've done for this school. And there'll be a pretty nice bonus for you.
All right.
That's not a bonus. It's actually what the board considers retroactive pay for your taking on half a job for the last 9 months of the school year. So you should look for that payment in our next pay period. So thank you very much for your service, and we appreciate you. Somebody said she's gonna cry. I was like, we're gonna make her cry. We're just gonna make her cry.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So Dr. Henry, Ms. Jones, you guys know the instructions. We need to make sure that happens for our next pay period.
Yes.
Does that conclude your reports on the operation side, Dr. Henry?
Yes, ma'am.
So Ms. Jones, if we'll go back to the finance report. Maybe, you want me to share it? You got it?
Can you see?
I can. I should begin by, just for context purposes, I should say that know that the business manager role still remains unfilled. Dr. Henry had replaced the business manager with a woman, Miss Harley. And Miss Harley had a family emergency back in Jamaica and had to resign after a week, 2 weeks. So we've lost our business manager again, but he's begun to interview again. He has an interview on Wednesday of next week, Dr. Henry, I think, Wednesday of next week. So as we think about the financials, please keep in mind that this work has been primarily assumed by 3 entities, Ms. Robinson, Dr. Henry, and EdOps. So, but this is the summary for the month of April. The executive summary continues to be in line with budget. Our forecasts are strong for a strong cash position of about 319 days of cash on hand. The annual increase in revenue supported by grant funds received in December from the Tide Foundation, which is what you commonly know as the Google grant. Further grant reimbursements will be expected in the fourth quarter of the year. And those grant reimbursements are, for the most part, our SOAR dollars that we had not billed for. Earnings and cash forecasts meet all the internal and authorizer financial KPI targets. Next slide. This is our KPI forecast. You'll see the days of cash, our gross margin, and our forecasted FAR, which is the financial audit review. That you'll see that we exceed the authorizer's requirements in every case. Next slide. Further KPI forecast, net income. You'll see what the targets are for both. Cash liquidity, what the targets are based on what our values are. Debt ratio, capacity, and then our earnings. Next slide. This is our departmental budget snapshot that looks at our actual budget, the amount of dollars remaining, and the percentage spent to date for both, for all 4 of our departments: academics, the CEO's office, administration, and retention. Our forecast, we've talked a little bit about our positive cash forecast. Our expenses about 15K behind estimations. Really strong financial position, as we've done intentionally as we get ready for our new building. Next slide. Cash forecast versus actual. There's about a $2 million gain in cash. Much of that you'll find is about the $1 million from Google. And then we have some savings from staff attrition over the course of the year. Next slide. You guys have seen this entire package in our board booklet, but it kind of reinforces what we've said before. We're $1.2 million ahead in revenue. We saved 15K in expenses for a net income 1.2 million ahead. We have a cash adjustment of $270,000, which is cash flow adjustments that reflect expenditures from our Woodmont draws around our school. And then we are projected to be 892K ahead in cash by year end. And then final slide is our cash, where our cash rests and which account they're in. But this is an added request from the board from our previous financial reports, so that we could actually track where cash is sitting. We have readjusted those accounts to make sure that we're getting the best bang for our buck from our financial institutions by putting the money in the investment account, as well as continuing to fund our reserve that's set aside for facility. So are there any questions around our finance report that you've had in your board booklet for a few weeks now?
None for me.
Great. Having none, we'll move into our old business, which is our space planning. Our space planning has really taken a turn in the last couple of weeks with our change in leadership back in April. It had a chilling effect, quite frankly, on our financier. As you know, we had gotten our term sheet. We're really excited about a term sheet from Civic Builders, as with the Walton Foundation and PNC Bank. And we were excited. And then we changed leadership, and they were a little worried about that change. Fortunately, I think we've been able to reinforce that we are still very steady and a good investment. We've had a series of meetings that have all gone really, really well. So I expect Civic Builders to move forward full steam ahead. Our permitting is on track. And the only piece of that process that we are watching very closely to ensure that we can be aligned with time is the OSSI $2 million low cost loan. We've submitted our application. Our contact at the OSSI had gotten sick. He had gotten COVID, was out for a few weeks, and he is back now, but he is still a little slower than we would expect. But he has committed that we would be before the loan committee in June for the OSSI. He's not asked us for any further information, so we feel good about that process. We want to continue to push to make sure that that happens timely, as the Civic Builders loan is contingent upon any other monies being in before their money. So we're working hard to get the 2 million in so we can close on their loan, and we're hoping that we can close on their loan in July and be prepared to break ground. So we're excited about what's coming as far as space and beginning to build our space. The tidbit that we learned in our last space planning meeting, we were concerned about notification of our present landlords on when we vacate the space. Based on our current lease, we have to provide 12 months notice to our landlord, and we have a 14-month build. So we can really get in the ground, make sure things are going smoothly prior to serving notice for those 12 months. So we don't have to run the risk of not having or serving notice too early and not having space. So I'm really excited about the timeline, the way they're running together. And I think we're on our way to having a home finally. So we continue to be steadfast in getting us there. Are there any questions for me around the space planning effort? Dr. Boxley, have you been able to see our concepts and use of space for the new building yet?
Yes, Dr. Henry showed me an initial drawing.
Okay, good. I would encourage you to take the opportunity now to look at how we view space inside the building, to make sure that in your role come July 1, you're comfortable with our use of space for your academic programs. We have the ability now to kind of, look where walls and doors should be to make sure it's efficient and that it meets your expectations as far as growth. We think we've done a really good job of maximizing floor space, keeping spaces as flexible as possible, that allows us to grow, but just to have another eye to make sure that you guys are all comfortable. Now is the time to do that. Any other questions around space? Good. And I believe in our new business, we have one item to vote on, and it is the substantial change policy. And Ms. Jones, can you review with us what that is on the agenda? Ms. Jones?
I don't have that on my agenda.
Okay, the one you sent me has it. So maybe it's not a vote item.
No.
Okay. Is there any other new business that you'd like to discuss? Anybody? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Excellent. And, the motion to adjourn needs no second. You guys have a great night. Thank you very much for your time.
Excuse me,
Oh, who's,
me.
oh, yes, yes.
I just want to thank everyone for considering me. Just thank you all very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to appreciate it.
You only know,
And
it
I
might be
just-
$2.
Huh?
Might be $2.
Look, I had that right here in this drawer. And after I saw that new building, I have a question. Am I going to be the manager of that nice new operations manager, that nice new building?
And that is absolutely the plan. It's interesting enough, you came up in a conversation on the board and they said, why can't we just make Miss Robinson the business manager? I said, Miss Robinson doesn't know QuickBooks, y'all. She can do
I'm
everything
learning
else.
it, you all.
But she
I'm-
doesn't know
I'm ready.
So yeah, but continue on your path, continue to work hard, and we appreciate having you.
Well, thank you all again.
Dr. Henry, one question on the leadership team that will present at these meetings. Are you going to include comms? Or no?
No,
No.
I'm gonna report out for comms.
Got
And what we're gonna end up doing in a full meeting is it'll be one slide, and then we're gonna have that to the board prior to the meeting so you can see and review that.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your evening.
You too.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Apologies for my tardiness.
7:26. Hey, JoJo. Meeting adjourned 7:26. Thanks, guys.
All right, bye, everyone. Good night.
Bye, JoJo.